Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about a major development in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukraine has once again struck a critical target, this time hitting a key Russian supply line and effectively cutting off the Crimea Bridge. This event marks a significant shift in the war and has far-reaching implications for both sides. The Crimea Bridge, also known as the Kerch Strait Bridge, has been a vital link for Russia, connecting the mainland to the annexed Crimea. It is not just a transportation route, it is a lifeline for military supplies, fuel, and equipment. By targeting this bridge, Ukraine has disrupted the flow of resources and put immense pressure on Russian forces stationed in Crimea. Reports indicate that the strike was precise and strategically planned. Ukrainian forces appear to have focused on the structural weak points of the bridge, aiming to maximize the impact while minimizing unnecessary destruction around civilian areas. The result is a significant disruption of movement, leaving Russian forces scrambling to find alternative supply routes. This attack is more than just a military maneuver. It sends a clear message about Ukraine's capabilities and resolve. By targeting such a high-profile and heavily defended asset, Ukraine has demonstrated both precision and audacity. The psychological impact on Russian troops and command structures cannot be underestimated. Morale is likely affected, as the bridge has been seen as a symbol of Russian control in the region. The strategic importance of Crimea cannot be overstated. Since Russia's annexation in 2014, the peninsula has served as a critical military and political outpost. It hosts major naval facilities, air bases, and serves as a launching point for operations in southern Ukraine. By disrupting supply lines, Ukraine is not only targeting military logistics, but also challenging Russia's long-term control and influence in the region. Early reports suggest that the strike caused significant damage to the bridge's infrastructure. Some sections are reported to be unusable, which could halt the movement of heavy military equipment, including tanks and artillery. This creates an immediate tactical advantage for Ukraine, allowing forces to operate with less risk of encountering reinforced Russian positions backed by timely reinforcements. In addition to the military implications, this event has political ramifications. International observers are likely to view this as a bold move, highlighting Ukraine's determination to reclaim lost territory. It could also influence diplomatic negotiations and the stance of foreign nations providing support to Ukraine. A successful strike of this magnitude may encourage further assistance in the form of weapons, intelligence, and strategic guidance. The timing of the strike is also significant. Analysts suggest that Ukraine may have been waiting for the right moment when Russian defenses were vulnerable. The careful planning and intelligence required indicate that this was not a spontaneous attack, but a calculated effort to maximize impact. Such operations require coordination, surveillance, and precise execution, all of which speak to the growing sophistication of Ukrainian military capabilities. Social media and news outlets have been flooded with images and videos of the aftermath. Smoke rising from the damaged sections of the bridge and halted convoys highlight the immediate impact on Russian logistics. Civilians in nearby areas have been warned to avoid travel, and Russian authorities are scrambling to assess the damage and implement contingency plans. This strike also raises questions about the long-term security of Russian assets in Crimea. If Ukraine can target the bridge successfully, other critical infrastructure may also be vulnerable. Ports, fuel depots, and military bases could potentially be at risk in future operations. This creates a broader sense of uncertainty for Russia in the region, forcing them to rethink defense strategies and resource allocation. The Ukrainian military has been increasingly effective in targeting high-value assets. This operation is part of a larger trend of precision strikes, aimed at disrupting Russian supply chains, command centers, and key infrastructure. Over time, these attacks collectively weaken the operational capabilities of Russian forces and create strategic openings for Ukrainian advances. Experts are already discussing the potential ripple effects of the bridge strike. Delays in resupply could affect troop morale, operational planning, and the ability to respond to Ukrainian advances elsewhere in Crimea or southern Ukraine. Military logistics is often an underappreciated aspect of war. But disruptions like this can have cascading consequences across the battlefield. From a tactical perspective, the strike also demonstrates Ukraine's growing ability to gather intelligence and execute complex operations. Modern warfare relies heavily on reconnaissance, satellite imagery, and real-time monitoring. By hitting such a critical target, Ukraine shows that it is capable of combining technology, strategy, and timing to achieve maximum impact. The Kremlin's response to the strike has been swift, though details are limited. Russian officials have acknowledged the damage and are reportedly working to repair the bridge and restore supply lines. However, repairs may take time, and the temporary disruption alone has already given Ukraine a significant advantage. Internationally, reactions have been mixed. Some countries see this as a legitimate military operation against an occupying force, while others are concerned about escalation. Nevertheless, the strike underscores Ukraine's determination to regain territory and resist Russian control, a stance that resonates with many nations supporting Ukraine. The humanitarian aspect of this strike cannot be ignored. While Ukraine appears to have avoided civilian casualties, the disruption to transportation may affect the movement of goods and services for people living in Crimea. Access to essentials like food, fuel, and medical supplies could be temporarily hindered, raising concerns about the broader impact on the civilian population. Looking ahead, the strike on the Crimea Bridge could be a turning point in the conflict. It may encourage Ukraine to continue targeting key supply routes, forcing Russia to divert resources to defense and repair rather than offensive operations. Such strategic moves could gradually shift the balance of power, even if only incrementally, in favor of Ukraine. The operation also sends a strong message to the Russian military. No asset, no matter how secure or symbolically important, is beyond reach. This could influence Russian strategy, potentially making commanders more cautious and reactive, which in turn creates opportunities for Ukraine to exploit vulnerabilities elsewhere. From a technological perspective, the strike demonstrates the increasing importance of precision-guided weapons in modern warfare. Traditional massed attacks have given way to targeted strikes that maximize effect while minimizing collateral damage. Ukraine's success in hitting a heavily defended bridge highlights the effectiveness of this approach and sets a precedent for future operations. The morale boost for Ukrainian forces should also be considered. A successful strike on a high-profile target like the Crimea Bridge reinforces confidence and shows that strategic objectives can be achieved even against a larger adversary. This psychological aspect of warfare is critical, as it motivates troops and supports long-term operational planning. Economic implications are also notable. The Crimea Bridge is not only a military asset, but also a commercial route. Disruption affects trade, supply chains, and infrastructure maintenance. These factors add pressure on Russia, which must now allocate resources to repair and reroute supplies, further straining its logistical capabilities. The bridge strike may also influence the narrative of the conflict. Media coverage and public perception are powerful tools in modern warfare. Ukraine's ability to target such a symbolically significant asset generates international attention and reinforces the perception of Ukraine as a capable and determined defender of its territory. As the conflict continues, operations like this highlight the evolving nature of modern warfare. The focus is not solely on territory, but on strategic assets that determine operational success. Disrupting supply lines, communications, and infrastructure can be just as impactful as conventional combat. For Russia, the strike is a reminder of vulnerabilities and the need for adaptive strategies. Traditional assumptions of control and security may no longer apply in a rapidly changing battlefield environment. Russian forces may need to reconsider fortifications, resource allocation, and contingency planning to prevent further disruptions. In conclusion, the Ukrainian strike on the Crimea Bridge is a significant military, strategic, and symbolic event. It disrupts Russian supply lines, demonstrates Ukraine's growing operational capabilities, and sends a clear message to both domestic and international audiences. The repercussions are likely to unfold over weeks and months, influencing military operations, political decisions, and public perception. This event shows that the conflict is far from static. Ukraine continues to evolve its tactics and operations, targeting high-value assets and demonstrating that precision and strategy can yield significant results. The Crimea Bridge strike is a vivid example of how modern warfare is not just about numbers, but about intelligence, timing, and strategic impact. As the situation develops, both sides will be closely monitoring the consequences. Russia will seek to repair and adapt, while Ukraine will likely assess other critical targets to further weaken enemy operations. The next few weeks could be decisive in shaping the course of the conflict, and this strike marks a pivotal moment in that trajectory. Ultimately, the attack on the Crimea Bridge is more than a single military operation. It is a statement of intent, capability, and resilience. Ukraine has shown that it can strike where it matters most, challenging Russia's control and altering the dynamics of the conflict in meaningful ways.